Snow fell outside on the playground, while inside the school, in Mrs. Redding's classroom, Lakshmi, Kira and Danielle sat down at a table to finish their science project. They had been assigned germs. Lakshmi's father was a biologist, so she knew all about germs. She was going to say this, but then she thought it better not to, because then the other girls would think she was a know-it-all. So the girls studied and read, and Kira and Danielle were still confused as to what germs really were. Lakshmi then wondered if she should explain it to them, but then again she worried she would seem too much like a know-it-all, so she kept quiet. Nearby, at the UltraKids Club headquarters, Malachi was trying to connect a new high-definition monitor to the computer system. With this new monitor, he said to himself, we'll be able to see every kid who needs help clearly. Malachi unpacked the large monitor. He then took out all the cables and laid them down on the ground. There were so many. Scratching his head, Malachi thought, how am I going to figure all of this out? Soon, the other UltraKids hero, Penelope, came into headquarters. Whistling a tune, she walked right by Malachi. Oh, the new monitor came, she said. That'll be good for us. She then went upstairs to her room. Malachi sat down on a chair and began to pore over the instructions for the monitor, but they were too confusing for him. I have no idea what I'm looking at, he muttered. I wish I had some help with this. Penelope then came down the stairs, still whistling, and walked right past Malachi. Can't wait to see the new monitor, she said, and then went to the kitchen. She opened the door to the refrigerator and began to take out food for her lunch. Malachi slumped in his chair, confused and frustrated. I'll never get this monitor connected. Penelope then came out of the kitchen, carrying a roast beef sandwich in one hand and a glass of milk in the other. Fancy a sandwich, Malachi? Malachi frowned. Not now. Can't you see I'm trying to connect this monitor? It's so confusing. It is, said Penelope, putting her food down on a nearby table. I thought you knew how. I've done it tons of times. My dad always helps me. Malachi sighed. Why didn't you show me? I thought you knew how, Penelope shrugged. Malachi said, I should have asked for help. Penelope nodded. Yes, you should have, but I also ought to share what I know. I should have seen you connecting the monitor and offered to share my knowledge. Just then, an alarm went off. The two UltraKids ran to their old monitor and flipped it on. A picture of Lakshmi and her classmates came up on the screen. Uh-oh, said Malachi. Looks like we have another case of someone needing to share what they know, so it will help others to grow. Come on, said Penelope. They ran to their Ultra ship, jumped in, and zipped over to the primary school. Once there, Penelope and Malachi asked Mrs. Redding if it was okay to speak with Lakshmi and her classmates. Mrs. Redding gave it the okay, knowing that the UltraKids would help. You always have to share what you know, Lakshmi, said Penelope. You know why? Lakshmi shrugged. Because if we share what we know, Malachi said, then others can grow. Penelope pointed to the science book on the table. What do you know about germs? Lakshmi cleared her throat. Well, they're microbes and Lakshmi shared everything that she knew about germs. Wow, said Kira. Amazing, said Danielle. You see, said Penelope, now that your classmates know more about germs, thanks to your help, you can all get a better grade on your science project. When we help others out, we're helping ourselves too. When we share knowledge, the world is a much better place. Lakshmi smiled. Thank you, Penelope and Malachi. I realise now that I shouldn't be afraid to share what I know. It doesn't matter what others think. In the end, it's about sharing knowledge and making the world a better place to live in. Malachi nodded. And getting a good grade is pretty nice too. Everyone laughed. Okay, guys, said Penelope. We have to run. There's a monitor that needs to be installed back at headquarters. Lakshmi thanked the UltraKids again, and then the heroes were off in their ship. Back at headquarters, Penelope and Malachi came back to the high-definition monitor. "All right," said Penelope, kneeling on the floor. "This cable is for power and should be plugged in here. This cable is for both video and audio, and it goes here. The other cable we'll need to plug into our video feed." Malachi smiled. "See, sharing what you know is going to make me grow. And next time I'll eat my lunch and watch you connect the next monitor that comes into UltraKids Club headquarters." Malachi laughed. He then helped her plug in the rest of the cables and they moved the monitor into place.